The equation for wealth is money plus wisdom. You got to have both, right? What's the difference between a broke NBA player and Magic Johnson, who just bought the Washington Commanders? That's what these guys do. These athletes and entertainers, they're getting big checks. But what's the difference between the ones that get a big check and blow it and the one that gets the big check and puts it to use? Wisdom, right? You got to know what to do with the money. Whenever you get a lump sum of money, you want to use wisdom with it, whether it's debt or cash. Debt or cash, you got to use wisdom. That's why this guy went broke, because he got a check. He got a couple of checks, and he didn't know what to do with the money. This is the check that I got, $28,000, right? I was sitting at the time. I had I remember that car, Nissan Altima. $28,000 check I got. This was from real estate. It's not from M&A. $28,000. I was flipping houses. Well, this was one of the first big checks that I got. I didn't get this money it wasn't from a loan, it wasn't from a credit card, right? This was one of the first big checks I got. Well, I mismanaged that money and I lost it all, right? I tried to throw some in the business, try to buy some of this, I didn't know where to put it, right? I tried to put it back into real estate. And what I found was that flipping houses, this is a house that I actually flipped. It's a very competitive market. You can lose your shirt in real estate. And when you look at rentals, because some people will say, well, I want to put my money in real estate. I'll put money in real estate. And instead of just doing the flips, because flips, you get big gains. With rentals, you get slow, steady paper. What I began to realize, even when in the rental game, that real estate is really a low margin business. Low margin meaning low profit. It's a low profit business, low cash flow. Because real estate, if I was talking about blue oceans and red oceans, right? Real estate is a red ocean. Y'all see this over here? It's a red ocean. If you have that money, you want to throw it into real estate, it's a red ocean. Same thing with Forex, Amazon, that people push. It's a red ocean. It's a lot of competition over here. And when you really get into flipping real estate, it's feast or famine. Feast or famine, right? You're living deal to deal. Because I know, and I'm saying this because I know a lot of people that get funding checks, if they're not looking to put it into their business, they start thinking, can I put this into a property? Let me get a little rental property. But rental properties is feast or famine. If you're flipping, right? If you're flipping, when you look at business buying, it's not feast or famine, it's recurring income. It's blue ocean. There's not as much competition. It's just a business, they have recurring income. And if I knew how to buy an existing business, I could have flipped that 30K. I could have put it down on an SBA loan. Anybody know what an SBA loan? Anybody know what an SBA loan? If you know what an SBA loan is, put SBA in the chat. Anybody know what SBA is? DePaul, Yvette. Good. So we got some people that know what that is. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more. So if I knew what to do with that money, I could have put that 30K down on an SBA loan and bought a $200,000 price business that could have been doing $1 million in sales, could have been doing a couple $100,000, but I didn't know what to do with that money. SBA, for those that don't know, is free money that the government gives away. All you got to do is put 15% down, 10 to 15% down, and they'll cover the rest. It covers business acquisitions from actually $500,000 up to $5 million in purchase. You only got to put 15% down. Now, rental properties, they do have recurring revenue as well, but let's dig a little deeper, right? Let's dig a little deeper. Let's see if y'all can follow with me. Stay with me for a second. I'm gonna dig into some numbers. I just did a Google search. Those who want to get into real estate. The average cost of a single family house in the United States is $428,000. $428,000. Now, if you are a real estate investor, you're not going to pay $428,000 for that house. If you're a real estate investor, you're not going to pay $428,000. You're going to pay 70% of that. You're going to pay about $265,000 for a $428,000 house. All right, that's how much you're going to pay for that house. That's the price that most investors would pay. About $265,000 for that house. Now, I did another Google search. Well, how much do landlords make per unit? And this was just what came up. So on average, a landlord collects about $34,000 in top line sales and they pay about $23,000 in expenses on a property. And so what I did with these numbers, I took these numbers and I put them in a profit and loss statement. Anybody don't know what a profit and loss statement is? Anybody on here, if you don't know what a profit and loss statement is, just say, I don't know. Because I don't want to lose you. I really hope you guys understand what I'm talking about before I move on, because all this is going to build. Anybody don't know what a profit and loss statement is? Okay, no responses. Okay, the Paul, you know what a P&L is. Okay, profit and loss statement.
I was throwing it out there just
throwing it out there, right,
guys.
right.
Yeah, and you're not, guys, you aren't dumb if you don't know. It's perfectly fine. Like this, it's okay. It's good. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Money in, money out. That's all it is. Money in, money out. Right? Revenue, as you can see right there, revenue, expenses, and net profit. So I took that property and I said, well, if the average landlord is making $34,000 in rent off of a property, right? And they're charging, let's say let's say they're paying $1,500 a month in mortgage, because for those that don't know, most landlords, they do not own their properties free and clear. They have a mortgage, okay? They have a mortgage. And so most landlords, they have a mortgage. So if you make $34,000 a year off that property and you're paying $1,500 a month, it came out of 18 grand. And then you got to pay insurance, then you got to pay maintenance and repairs. And then you have other expenses. At the end of the year, a landlord that has one single property, he's only netting $10,000. I don't know about you, but for me, that is a very low number, especially if I'm taking out a $265,000 loan and I'm only getting $10,000 in profit, right? And I did the math, a $265,000 investment property, if you divide that 10 grand by 12, you're only getting $878 in monthly cash flow after you pay your bills. I mean, I don't know you guys are all over the country, so I know here in California, $800, that's not paying for nothing, man. That's not paying for nothing. I mean, that's yeah, so trash. That's wild. That's wild. I see Joe, that's crazy. $265,000 and all you're getting is $800 a month. Now, this is where you're about to get, get ready, put your caps on, put your boots on, here we go. What if you bought a business for the same price? What if you bought a business for the same price? Okay, we paid $265 for a property, got $800 a month. What if we took $265 and bought a small business? Pizzeria in New Jersey. $265,000 cash flow. This is profit right here. That word cash flow. Remember, this whole presentation, cash flow through acquisition. This is profit right here. $150,000 in profit a year. Divide that by 12, that's $12,000 a month. That's after all the employees are paid. That's after the rent is paid. That's after the lights are paid. That's after you bought all your supplies. This restaurant in New Jersey, $12,000 a month. Compared to that investment property that we paid the same price for, only give us $878. Here's another restaurant. This restaurant is semi-absentee. It's semi-absentee. Absentee meaning, guess what? I don't have to go to the job. The employees are running it. It's an absentee business. It runs with or without me. Now, this one says semi-absentee, meaning maybe the owner is just doing the bookkeeping. And some of the things for my more advanced students, my more advanced clients, some of the things that I show them once they get through the foundation, I show them how to take a semi-absentee business and turn it into absentee. I show them how to take an owner-operated business and turn it into an absentee, right? But this semi-absentee restaurant, $265, is bringing in $14,000 a month. This hair salon in New York, $265, same price as the house, $16,000 a month. I picked all these businesses at random. I just picked them at random. Pet supply store, $265, same price as that house, $12,000 a month. A pool store, $265. And even on the low end, this is on the low end, $7,000 a month is crushing that house. It's crushing it. This plowing and landscaping business, $13,000 a month. So for that 265, you're getting $610,000 in revenue, $165,000 in profit, $13,000 a month. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. With 5 employees. The employees are already, you buy the business, the employees are already running it. They're already running it. All you gotta do is show up. I'm the boss now. That's it. That's it. This business, the owner is not involved in landscape design or installation. He's not even involved in that. And he's giving you the blueprint on how you can take this semi-absentee business and make it absentee. Here's a little business we see in every community and every city and every state in this country, a corner store. These little corner stores. Same 265 you spent to buy a house, you take that, you buy a corner store. The corner store on the low end is giving us $7 grand a month. This is ridiculous when we look at these numbers, right? And this corner store been in business for 20 plus years, 5 employees. I don't have to work. I don't have to go into that business. I'm an investor. I use my money and it makes more money for me. It's crazy. And I know I'm beating a dead horse, but that's my style, y'all. If y'all, those of y'all that get to know me, my style, I like to beat the horse. I get every little piece off of it. I just beat it until it's just coming out of your eyeballs, right? This corner store, $85,000, we expect to pay the same price, $85,000 a year in profit. It is killing this little rental property that's only doing $10,000 for the same price. So I took the numbers and I said, man, let me just compare it apples to apples. Investment property versus established business. I got a rental property here, $265,000. It's making a revenue of $34,000. Net profit or cash flow, $10,000 a year. Monthly cash flow, $878 a month. Right? Now I brought in that landscaping business that I showed you guys earlier. That landscaping business, it's a little cheaper, but look at the revenue for what you get for your money. Look at the profit for what you get for your money. I looked at the corner store. Corner store was making about half of what that landscaping. These are the same corner stores in all our communities. It's crushing that rental property. It's crushing it. And it's cheaper. 260 is doing $640,000 in revenue. Net profit $85,000 with a monthly cash flow of $7,000. Now, my real estate people will say, well, you can sell the house, right? You can sell it for ARV, after repair value. Well, guess what? You can do the same thing with a business. If y'all get what I'm saying, type I get it in the chat, man. Please, 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 please. I need some feedback. If you get what I'm saying, just type I get it in the chat, man. Please. I get it. Tay, I get it. Dr. V, Joella, I get it. I get it. I get it. G, I get it. I get it. You can do the same thing with a business. And let's just look at it. Holding property. Because I know some people, when it comes to property, say, well, I want to get a rental property. Let's just look at holding profit. So that property we was looking at earlier, $428,000, right? After repair value, that's how much it was worth. We bought it for $265,000. And let's just say we threw $35,000 into it. We threw $35,000 for some rehab. And we held that rental property for 10 years, okay? We bought it, we buy and hold. We bought it and we held it for 10 years, okay? We would make approximately $105,000 over the course of 10 years from rent. And that's pretty good. That's some good money. That's some money that some people don't see in a year. But we made that in rent over the course of 10 years. Well, at a 3% appreciation rate, that property would increase $147,000 in value. We'd be able to sell it for $576. All in all, our profit would be $381. So we buy this property for $265, we hold it for 10 years, we collect rental checks on it, we sell it after 10 years, we get a profit of $381,000, which is great, which is great. But let's look at the corner store. Corner store valuation is $260. Wow, because that's what we paid for. Right? We paid, that's what it was evaluated for, that's what we paid for, $260. Now let's just say, now you don't have to put no money into it, but let's just say we threw $35,000 into that corner store, or let's say we took $35,000 and we put that down on an SBA loan, right? Or we took $35,000 and we had seller financing with our sellers. I'm really going to dig into seller financing in a second. We had seller financing, and our seller carried a loan. And we held that business for 10 years. Let's see how much we make over the course of 10 years. $858,000 over the course of 10 years. That's crazy. That's crazy. With a 3% appreciation rate, right? The same corner store with a 3% appreciation rate, 89 grand, not as much. We resold it for 349. So it didn't sell for a whole lot more. But look at what we made over the course of 10 years. Joella said the horse is dead. I love it. I love it. That's what I want. I love it. I want you guys by the end of this, to be so excited about buying businesses that you're going to get off this call and look for business to buy. That's how I want it. That's why I got to beat the horse like this. I got to beat it because it has to drill in. It just has to drill in, right? Real estate is a low margin business, right? $913,000 in profit over 10 years. Imagine if you had 10 of them. Imagine if you had 5 of them. I want you to just imagine if you had 2 of them. 2 of them. 2 of them. $913,000. You bought a store for $260, sold it for $349, and made $913,000 with it. And that's without making any changes in marketing, sales, price increases. Imagine what would happen to that little corner store if we offer more products and services. Keep the store stocked, properly train the staff, provide top-notch customer service, improve marketing, advertising incentives, offer sales and discounts, expand the business, build the brand, increase prices, and then we bought another store. How much more money can we make out of that little corner store? And if you remember, that corner store was actually the lowest margin business that we looked at. What if we looked at the higher margin business and we paid a little bit more for it? Like this landscaping business right here, this semi-absentee landscaping business in North Carolina that pretty much runs itself. $375,000. That's cheaper than the price of the average US single family home. This little business right here is doing $2 million in sales. You can buy a $2 million business for the price of a single family home. That's doing $415,000 in profit a year. That's $34,000 a month. $34,000 a month. A month. $2 million business you could buy for the price of a single family home. Now I know some of you are thinking we don't want to get the money to buy a business. Well, besides the money you already have access to, and besides the free money, we're talking about SBA, besides the free money that the government is giving away, there's hundreds of ways you can buy an existing business. And in some cases, with little to none of your own money, right? Other cases, you can use the money of the business you are buying to buy it. That's a tongue twister. You can use the money of the business you are buying to buy it. So it's paying for itself. This is where seller financing comes into play, right? Now with real estate, it's hard to get seller financing because the person that you're buying that property from, he's looking at his bottom line because he had the property and he's like, where are you gonna get the money to pay me? Why would I give you, because seller financing, I do want to just drop on that. A lot of people don't understand what seller financing is. Seller financing is just a loan from the seller. That's all it is. They're giving you a loan. So if a property owner has a property that's only netting them 10 grand a month, why would they give you seller financing on it? Where's the money to pay themselves back? They don't see it. When you buy an existing business that has bank accounts and that has money flowing through it on a monthly basis, right? Some of these businesses, they have established credit lines. DePaul getting y'all credit, but you could buy a business that already has a credit line. I bought a business that had a $150,000 credit line, right? They added me to the Amex. Right? You can buy, they already have established credit lines, and then you can use those credit cards to pay the seller. I don't know if y'all got what I just said. You buy the business already has credit cards. You use the credit cards that the business already has, and you pay the seller with that money. I see the bomb. He said the money dancing. I see the bomb. The money is dancing. If y'all get what I'm saying, just put I get it in the chat, please, please, please. I need some feedback. If y'all get what I'm saying, say I get it in the chat. Please, 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 please. I get it. I get it. I get it. All right, all right. All you need to do is just put the right deal together, and the business is yours. Now, sometimes you can use the assets of the business to buy it, right? When I bought my first business, I just got out of the military. I did 10 years in the Navy, and I was transitioning from my trucking business. My dad, I told y'all my dad had a truck. I've been around trucking my entire life, right? We had a couple of trucks, and I was transitioning out of that business, 14, because the rates went down. I know some people in here, I've seen at least one person that's in the trucking game. I know you're getting crushed right now because those rates are ridiculous. And so I was getting out of trucking and I started dabbling in real estate, but I did not know market cycles and understand that when I got into real estate, I pulled all my money in real estate, I was jumping into a red ocean, right? And the market skyrocketed. It skyrocketed and then it dropped and I lost my money. It was ridiculous. And so I was trying to figure out what my next move was. Bought a hot dog cart. And I mean, I was just going through it, man. I was going through it. I don't know if any of y'all have ever hit rock bottom before, but that hot dog cart for me, that was rock bottom compared to where I'm at right now. It was rock bottom. It was rock bottom. And so I had that hot dog cart. And I was reading as many books as I possibly could because someone came, I don't even know where the idea came from. Somebody just dropped the idea on me on buying a business, and I just started buying books. And I read as many books as I could on buying a business. I was still trying to make money. My money got low, so I started flipping cars on Craigslist. And until eventually I realized that there was a way for me to tap into this business buying marketplace. And so I started looking for businesses to buy, but I had zero success, right? I had the wrong structure. I kept getting hung up on. I'm talking to sellers. I'm talking to brokers. They hanging up on me because I did not know how to approach them. And I couldn't figure out how to put a deal together. Because many of you, you're looking at this and you may say, wow, this seems really easy. Let me just go and just try to find a business. But if you don't know what you're doing, you go out here and start talking to these business owners, start talking to these business brokers. You don't know how to approach them. They're going to chew you up. They're going to spit you right back out. Right? And so I could not figure out how to put a deal together. Over the course of a year, I analyzed over 250 businesses, right? I spoke to hundreds of business brokers, spoke to hundreds of business sellers, and I still had no deal. And I almost gave up until it clicked for me. Because the problem, and this is a problem that many people make when they get into buying businesses. They try to treat buying a business like a real estate transaction. That's how I was going into my deals, right? I was going into those deals. I was going into those meetings like I did with real estate deals. Very transactional. I have the money. You have the business. Let me buy your business. But I realized that it wasn't about the deal. It was actually about the relationship with the seller and their business, right? That's what buying businesses, if you don't get anything else from me tonight, buying businesses is about relationship with the seller and their business, because there's the largest wealth transfer that's happening right now. Baby boomers going to the millennials. This is a huge transfer of wealth. But as I talked about before, the next generation, they don't have the money to buy these businesses from these people. They don't have the money. And they don't have the knowledge or the wisdom on how to put the deals together, right? They don't know how to talk to sellers or brokers. They don't know how to position themselves to be appealing to them. And the baby boomers are important because They own the majority of these businesses. So if you don't know how to talk to them, you're not going to get far. If you don't know what questions to ask, you're not going to get far. They're smart, they're loyal, they've been around the block a few times. 10,000 of them are retiring every day, and they have amazing businesses, but they don't have a succession plan. The kids want nothing to do with it, and their employees are not in a position to buy it from them, many cases. So what happens to the business? What happens to a business when these baby boomers that are looking to retire, they're looking to get out of the business, and they can't sell it? What do you think? I want you guys to put in the comment, what do you think happens to a business? These baby boomers who have $1 million businesses, right? They don't have a succession. They can't sell it to their kids. The employee's not in a position to buy it. What do you think happens to that business if they can't sell it? They close it. Big bank take little bank. I like that. They close it. Yeah. I like that, Charlie. Big bank take little bank. They close it. That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. And you see this all across Main Street America. They'll close. And some of these businesses that close, they're making money. But the problem was they didn't have succession. They didn't have nobody to pass it to, right? They didn't have nobody to pass it to. The ones that try to sell it, they'll try to list it with a broker, or they'll try to sell it themselves. But the problem is 8 out of 10 businesses never sell. This is why so many of them close. There's a lot of studies on this. 8 out of 10 businesses never sell. Why don't they sell? Many factors. But in my experience, it's often due to pride, right? It's due to pride because they don't like the person that's taking the baton. Unlike with real estate, which is transactional, business sales are relationship-based, right? They only sell to people that they like, that they trust, and that they can see running their business. This is very important. They only sell to people that they like, that they trust, and that they can see running their business. So if they don't find the perfect person to pass the torch to, they shut it down. They shut it down. And so that has created a blue ocean opportunity for us, because 8 out of 10 of them ain't gonna sell anyway. Blue ocean, no competition. It's literally an uncontested market space, right? If you don't have this book, I would suggest you buy it. Literally an uncontested market space for people who know how to put deals together, right? I saw firsthand when I came across a tire shop. Now, this tire shop had been around for almost 40 years, been serving the community for almost 40 years. And the seller had been trying to sell for some time. She was 80 years old, and her husband had started the business. You know, he ran it until he died. And then she took it over. Her 42-year-old son wanted nothing to do with the business. Her daughter-in-law, who was married to the son, she was literally begging me to buy the business. We went out to dinner. It was myself, it was my GM in one of my dealerships, and it was the broker, it was the seller, the ADO's seller, it was her son, it was her daughter-in-law, and her grandson. We all went out to dinner. And her daughter-in-law was sitting next to me the whole night. She's like, please, please buy from her. Please, please, please. Why? Because she wanted her children to have their grandmother back, because the grandmother was busy overseeing the business. Now, this business was listed for $450,000, and it was doing about $800,000 in top line sales every year. Now, the owner of this tire shop, she told me how a man had came into her store one day and he offered her $400,000 cash for the business. It's listed for $450,000. It was listed for $450,000. This guy came in and offered her $400,000 cash, and he just walked in. I gave $400,000 cash for the business, and she turned him down. She turned him down. $400,000 cash. In the real estate game, that's unheard of. $400,000 cash, she turned him down. I told y'all, it's not about the money. It's about the relationship. Well, that woman, she eventually sold 50% of her business to me for $1. She sold 50% of the business for me for $1. For $1. And I'm gonna tell y'all, whenever I buy a business, I bought a couple of businesses for $1. I bought a couple of businesses for $1. Okay. Whenever I buy a business for $1, I go to Walmart and I buy a picture frame. Okay. I buy a picture frame and I put the dollar in the picture frame. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I spend more on the picture frame than I did on the business. I spend more on the picture frames than I do on the businesses. This is what I'm talking about. Blue ocean. It's a blue ocean. It's not, and you saying it, yes, hey, yes, it's a blessing. But this isn't this. The thing that I need you to understand, all of y'all on this, under the sound of my voice, how many people we got on here? How many people we got on here? How many people we got on here, Paul? How many people we got on here, Paul?
We got 16 in total, including yourself. So let's say 50.
Yeah. All 16 of y'all, if y'all do what I tell you to do, you can do it too. You can buy a business for $1 too. Now I'm gonna show you how I did it. This is what I did. Here's the secret to buying that business for $1. Can everybody put $1 in the chat? Because everybody just put $1 in the chat. I just want to see $1 in the chat. $1. Just put, you can put a 1, you can put a dollar sign with a 1. I just want to see $1 in the chat before I give y'all this. $1 in the chat. $1, $1, $1, $1. Look like I got people's attention now. I'm talking about buying an $800,000 business that got employees. It had 7 employees, y'all. 7 employees. It had a manager, it had a service advisor, it had 3 technicians. 3 technicians. 3 technicians. I bought it for $1. I'm gonna tell you how I did it. I got the seller to like me, trust me, and feel like I'm the perfect person to buy our business. That's how I did it. That's how I did it. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hey, yo, I'm over here geeking right now because I don't think y'all understand this. And this sounds like, oh my goodness, like, it sounds like, yo, what is this guy talking about? Huh?
Hey, hold on, bro. Before you keep going, I just want to say, guys.
Hey, yo, I'm tripping over here right now.
Yeah, hold on. Whenever he, like, this is true story stuff. Like, this is like, he's not making any of this up. Cause this is like, nah, ain't no damn way you can tell me you walked in here and bought this business for $1.
Hey, DePaul, guess what? I did it again. And then I did it again. And then I did. I'm gonna show y'all in a second though. I'm gonna show you in a second. But this is what I did. I got her to like me, I got her to trust me. I got her to feel like I was the perfect person for a business. Now, I will say, here's some of the things moving in the background. It also helped that I had the proper structure when I approached her, okay? When I approached her to buy this business, I wasn't buying it as an individual like most people do. I just gave y'all a gem, just gave it away. This was a gem, just gave it away. Most people buy as individuals. I didn't buy it as an individual. I had a holding company that was properly positioned to buy the business. Anybody ever heard of this company right here? Anybody ever heard of this company right here? If you heard of this company right here, tell me, just tell me what you heard about this company, Alphabet. Anybody heard of Alphabet? I'm almost done, y'all. No? Okay. Alphabet owns Google. Alphabet owns Google. Alphabet is the holding company that owns Google. It owns YouTube. It owns Android. All of those other companies, right? It's a holding company, right? That's how the big boys do business. They buy with holding companies. Elon Musk. You know, it's funny. I gotta talk about Elon Musk for a second. I had to throw him in here because it got to the point in my community when I was buying businesses, one of the sellers, and actually it wasn't just one, it was him. Jeff told me that. Mike told me that. The sellers, they started calling me little Elon Musk because once I caught this bug of buying business, once I caught the business buying bug, I just kept replicating, man. Elon Musk, he created 3 holding companies in his attempt to buy Twitter. So that's a key secret, right? That's a key right there. And how I was able to put that deal together, I had a holding company, right? My holding company was the vehicle that helped put my deal together and that would protect me personally from any tax liability. And DePaul knows I'm real big on taxes. I'm big on taxes. I'm real big on that. And it helped build credibility with the seller, right? She was 80 years old, accomplished business owner, had a lot of people to try to sell her something, but I knew how to talk to her. I had a holding company. I was properly positioned. I knew how to talk to her. I knew what questions to ask her, which is very important when building credibility. Anybody ever watched this show, Shark Tank? If you've seen Shark Tank, just put Shark Tank in the chat. You ever seen the show Shark Tank? Put Shark Tank in the chat. Hey y'all, and I'm sorry. It seemed like I know my rhetoric. I'm like a squirrel, right? I'm talking. Boom, squirrel. I'm over here. I'm just throwing stuff out there because I'm trying to get it to soak in. All right, so we got some people that watch Shark Tank, right? I love Shark Tank. Shark Tank. That show is all about the purchase of companies. They're buying percentages of companies, right? The sharks, their estimated net worth, it says in the 3,000 of billions. Anybody ever heard of 3,000 of a million? The 3,000 of a million. They're multi-millionaires, they're billionaires, and they've got there by buying existing businesses. Well, most people, when they watch Shark Tank, their focus is on the people that are doing the pitching. That's where everybody's looking at when they watch it. Well, you know what I look at when I watch Shark Tank? I look at the sharks. You got to look at the questions that the sharks ask these people because they are operating from the position of an investor. And when you ask questions from the position of an investor, the person on the receiving end, they are able to clearly see that. They can understand it. They see it out the gate. And once they know that you're an investor, the way that they're going to deal with you, the way that they're going to talk to you, the way they're going to interact with you is going to be on a whole nother plan for you, right? And so the questions that I asked that tire shop, the owner of that tire shop, it taught me about the business. It showed me her underlying motivation. It revealed possible ways to put the deals together. And it properly conditioned her mind to see me as the best candidate to pass the torch to. And because I understood how to read profit and loss statements, I know a bunch of people here said y'all seen profit and loss statements before, but do you know how to read one to evaluate in order to evaluate a business? Do you know how to read a balance sheet and know what you are looking for when you're buying a business? When I look at balance sheets, I see money. That's what I see. I see money. I see ways to buy that business, right? Same thing with tax returns. Because I understood how to read profit and loss statements, balance sheets, tax returns, I was able to underwrite the deal and structure it where I would eventually buy her out for an even lower undisclosed asking price. Because the way that I put that deal together was I bought 50% of it for $1, but she held the remaining part of the business. And so later on, I put a deal together where I was able to buy the remaining portion of that company for an even lower price. Because it's never about the money. It's about solving a problem, right? She wanted to retire while ensuring her employees didn't lose their jobs. That's a gem right there. That's a gem right there. Message. And that her branding and legacy remained intact, which is what I was able to do for her. Here's another case. So here's that case study right there, right? Business, $450,000. Bought it. My entry was $1. Business was doing $800,000. And revenue, right? She asked for $450. I negotiated 50% for $1. Business had 7 employees and a manager. While I was holding that company, while I was holding 50% of that company, we had a management salary set up where I was being paid $30,000 annually without doing any work in the business. So $1 got me $30,000 a year. And that was without lifting a finger. That was without me doing bookkeeping. Now, I seen somebody ask this in the question box. Why would she do a deal like that? Because she felt secure regarding the succession of her business, right? She felt secure regarding the succession of her business. But I'm gonna go into my first deal. I'm gonna talk about my first deal because I was talking about my first deal and then I jumped over and I started talking about this tire shop. My first deal. I had gotten out of the military. I transitioned into trucking, real estate market. I was broken and broke. I started flipping cars. And I realized that the key was building rapport with the seller, right? Getting them to like me, trust me, feel like I was the perfect person to buy the business. Well, as I'm doing that, flipping cars, I came across a used car dealership that was selling for $2 million. Now, I told y'all at that time I was broke, right? I didn't have $2 million. But remember when I told you that you can use the assets of a business to buy a business, right? Remember that I said it was a tongue twister. Well, the seller of the car dealership, he was also selling the real estate. So he was selling the business and he was selling the real estate that the business operated on top of, right? So what I did was I brought in a cash buyer to buy the real estate. This is why I told you in the beginning, kudos to my real estate mentors, because if I didn't learn that skill set, I wouldn't have been able to tie it into this deal. And now I can give it to you guys. So I brought in a cash buyer to buy the real estate and I got paid $100,000 to buy the business. Everybody should be going, what? What's the guy talking about? You got paid? Yeah, I got paid $100,000 to buy the business. I don't know if I got a picture of the check in there. I might have it in here. I like to keep the picture of that first check of that deal. That deal was beautiful. $100,000 to buy the business. And the only reason why the seller agreed to do that deal was because he liked me, he trusted me, he could see me in this business. And so this is how I did it. This is what I did. $2 million car dealership. My entry into buying that car dealership was an appraisal, right? Because he didn't know how much the real estate was worth. So I paid $3,500 of my own money. I was broke. I actually, can't believe I'm say this. My wife, we keep talking about credit cards. Yeah, this whole group is about credit cards. My wife had a better credit score than me. My wife, she has her master's degree. She's one of those like, she had amazing credit score because I killed my credit score messing with real estate. My wife had a credit card. I put the $3,500 on my wife's credit card. Appraisal came back. The property appraised for $1.9 million, right? Business was doing $2 million in revenue, $200,000 in EBITDA, right? So here was the deal structure. He's asking for $2 million. The real estate appraised for 1.9. I negotiated the real estate down to $1.6 million and for the business to be included in the sale. So I said, he said, hey, I want $2 million for the business and the real estate. I said, here, and I'll tell you exactly how I did it. That's what I said. When I got my cash buyer, said, look, I'll give you 1.7. He said, I'll give you 1.7 cash for the property. So I went back to the seller and I said, here's what I'll do, Mr. Seller. I'll give you 1.6 down and you carry a loan for $400,000. He said, I don't want to carry a loan. Can you just cash me out? Just cash me out, man. 1.6. He took a $400,000 pay drop. He said, just cash me out. So at closing, when that cash buyer came with the 1.7, there was a difference of $100,000. So I literally made $100,000 at closing, and I used a portion of that money for operating capital and another portion of that money to put in my pocket. Took me back to Disney World. And guess what? You can do this too. You can do this too. Because it's a buyer's market right now. Man, I'm getting ahead of myself. I went from flipping cars on Craigslist to owning a used car dealership. Oh man. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta laugh for a second, man, because this is just so funny. It's just so funny because it's so real. It's so real, man. It's so real. So easy, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You only have one attempt to make a good impression with these sellers, right? That's it, right? Remember this guy, the guy I was telling you about? He had $400,000 cash for a $450,000 business. But because he didn't know how this game is played, the seller turned down $400,000 cash for $1, right? And that guy, he never got another opportunity to make a better impression. So if you think you could just take this and just, you got to know what game you're playing, right? I told you, my first year, I analyzed 250 businesses. And so if you're going to do this, you got to make sure that you don't make the mistakes that I did, right? I went on and do multiple other deals like this one when I bought a diesel shop. Seller was asking $140,000 cash. I bought it for $35,000 down, right? And the crazy thing about this one, I don't know if I got it in here, but when I bought this particular diesel shop, the $30,000 that I put down, it wasn't even, it was money that I got from another business. So it's like, because once you start buying businesses, you get access to more and more money, and then it's just a snowball. So the 30 grand, I took it from another business, put that down on this one, right? Seller asked $140,000 cash because he wanted to retire, put $35,000 down at closing. I negotiated the remaining balance of seller financing over $105,000 over 36 months. And then the way that I exited this business, the way I got out of this business, was I brought in investors. And I'll show you how to do that. I brought in investors at a 20% equity. They paid 40 grand each initially for a $200,000 valuation. And then over a period of time of us running the business, they decided that they wanted to buy me out. And they bought me out at 200K, right? They bought me out for $200,000. But I want y'all to remember how much I put down on this business. I got paid $200,000 for a business I bought for $140, and I only put $35,000 down on it. I nearly doubled my initial investment, right? Bank account went from this to this overnight, right? This is another dollar deal that I did. Light duty diesel shop. He had this one listed for $1 million. It was online for sale for $1 million. I negotiated 50% of that business for $1. And Paul liked this one because this one, I brought in MCAs. I don't know if y'all know about MCAs. I don't know if y'all know about MCAs, man. If you don't know about MCAs. Well, anyways, I bought half of this business for $1. Went out and got a 200. What's an MCA? I'm so glad you asked, Joella. I'm so glad you asked. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Joella. So well, MCA is a merchant cash advance. Okay, it's a cash flow loan. It's a way that you can buy. I just gave that away. It's a way that you can buy a business based on the amount of money that's flowing through the bank account every month. And the thing about, and the difference between these MCAs and banks, right? When you go to a bank, you got to blow the bank up. You got to fill out the application, and then you got to dot your I's, cross your T's, wear a nice little tie to the appointment. Even with the credit cards, when I audited the card that DePaul did, he's talking about credit cards. If you don't fill out that credit card application the right way, it's gonna get kicked back. Well, these MCAs, it's the wild, wild west with MCAs. It's hard money for businesses. They don't care. They don't care how you fill it out. They just throw the money at you. If the business can support the payments, they just throw it at you. So, anyways, seller asking for $1 million, no stay 50% for $1. I got a $250,000 MCA. I gave the seller half of that money, right? I gave him $125,000. The seller, he reinvested 40 grand. Remember that other deal I was just telling you about? He was one of the investors in that other deal. So he put 40 grand in my other deal, right? To buy the other deal shop. And so I walked away $125,000 cash in pocket, right? Seller, he found renewed motivation at the acquisition of the second shop. After he bought that second shop, he was like, man, I didn't know this was possible. Because I'm telling y'all, this is a blue, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about buying businesses. Everybody's talking about buying real estate. Nobody's talking about this. So when you start talking to business owners and you know how to talk to them, you know what words to say, it's going to blow their mind. They're like, man, I didn't know. It's crazy. So he got excited. He was like, man, I want to keep that business. And so I ended up I bought additional dealerships, repair shops, body shops, U-Haul, storage facilities, right, and more. Right now, the boomer business bomb is going on. What happens when these boomer business owners retire? We talked about it. Many of them, the business is shut down. And one thing that a lot of y'all don't know, or you may or may not know, is that very similar to real estate, businesses go through cycles. Real estate go through cycles, right? This is actually a market diagram, a market cycle of real estate. But businesses go through the same cycle. And I would actually argue that everything goes through this cycle. It goes through a recovery phase, which is a seller's market, then to expansion, which is a seller's market. Then it transitions into a hypersupply buyer's market, and then into a recession, where it's a buyer's market, right? And typically, this market cycle is 12 years. It takes 12 years to go through this cycle. 12 years, okay? So real estate, every 12 years, there's a recession. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, right? We're in a recession right now. What happened 12 years ago? Almost to the T, right? Almost just a little earlier than 12 years before 2020, because that was when they said the recession hit. 2008, recession hit. When was the other recession? Early 2000s. I think it was like 2001, 2002. When was the other recession? There was another one in the 90s. Every 12 years, the market resets. So I want you guys to think about that. Right now is the time to buy existing businesses, because I want to ask you a question. How many times will the baby boomers retire? As a whole. As a whole. Once. This is a once in a generation event that we are going through right now. Once in a generation event. These are the boomers. These are the boomers retiring. That was 2021. Now look, what year is that? That top tip right there. That top tip right there is 2026. So that's when the people that are smarter than me estimate that we're going to be at the top of the market of baby boomers retiring. After that, it's going down. And so if you're buying businesses, when would you want to buy a business? Do you want to buy it at the top of the market, at the very, very tip top? Or you want to buy it right before the tip top where you can make your money and get out? Or instead of buying it and flipping it real quick, I told you that lady owned the tire shop for 40 years. You buy it and you hold on to it. So when the next market cycle comes, you could sell it then, or you could pass it down to your children. We are literally in the middle of a once in a generation event, right? Now I want to change gears a little bit. We talk about ages. We had the Stone Age, we had the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, the water power, steam power, electric power, combination power. Now we're in the information age. And while we're talking about information, right? You guys spent money with DePaul, and I'm sitting here talking about an 8-week group coaching program. We're in an information age. So guess what? There's going to be eventually more people talking about this. But right now, there's nobody talking about it. There's nobody talking about. Now let me give you an example. Real estate. Now everybody said they heard of real estate. I don't think anybody on here said that they had real estate, but I know everybody heard of real estate. Well, the real estate investment information cycle is taking its course, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad came out 97, Facebook 2004, Facebook ads 2007, 2010. That's when you really start hearing about people pushing real estate, pushing. And before you know it, every time, I know for me, every time I got on Facebook, somebody talking about real estate. It's almost to the point now where like when you get on, if you follow any podcast, that's all people are talking about because it's up here now. The market is saturated. And here's the thing you need to look at. When everybody's talking about it, look what happens to the profit. It goes down. It goes down. When everybody's talking about it, the profit, where's the profit, right? The people who got into real estate in the 2010s, they are reaping the benefits now. Now, I'm talking about buying existing businesses. And what I'm going to tell you guys is that you're going to start hearing more and more people talk about buying businesses. This is where we're at right now. This is where we're at right now. Nobody's really talking about it, right? You can count on one hand the amount of people that's talking about this information. There's not a lot of people talking about it. Once it gets here, it's not going to be too late. Still going to be deals to be done, but the good deals are going to be already gone. You're talking about seller financing, talking about buying a business 50% for $1, or buying a cash flowing business, large percentage seller finance. Telling y'all, largest wealth transfer once in a generation event. So I got to ask y'all a question. Can you afford to miss this cycle? We're not talking about if you can afford the information. Can you afford to miss this cycle? Can't. You can't. You can't afford to miss this cycle. And so this is what this is what you're getting in 8 weeks. This is Acquisition Mastery Challenge. Session 1, we're going to talk about creating your structure, holding company. Session 2, finding deals. Session 3, getting your deals under contract, how to underwrite. Session 4, funding the deal. Session 5, due diligence and closing, right? Session 1, I'm breaking it all the way down. This is what you guys are going to get. You're going to find out how to properly position yourself so that when you talk to these sellers, they know that you mean business, right? We're going to talk about finding deals, where you can find deals, exploiting the biggest business marketplace, where to find off-market deals, buying your competition, sending them letters, referrals, other business sale platforms, qualifying the deal. We're going to talk about getting deals under contract, how to underwrite a business. Because you can look at a business, but if you don't know how to value it, it's not going to do you any good. You'd be buying a dud. You'd be buying a dud. So I'm going to talk about that, how to underwrite that business, how to prepare a term sheet. Some of y'all don't know what a term sheet is. I'm going to show you how to put one together, how to put together a letter of intent. Then we're going to talk about funding, deciding what contract to use, how you can buy a business for $1, financing the deal, different funding strategies to do that, how to obtain seller financing, financial engineering, using real estate investors to buy a business. And then in our final session, we're going to talk about due diligence and closing. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through A to Z how to do due diligence with the business. And for those who don't know what due diligence is, again, this is how you avoid buying a dud, or due diligence. Oh man, due diligence is how you negotiate. I gotta get off here. Due diligence is how you negotiate. Due diligence is how you negotiate. This is how you get seller financing. Y'all, most people don't know that. Most people think you just walk up to a seller and ask for seller financing. That's not how you do it. Due diligence. I'm gonna talk to y'all about that. We're gonna talk about taking over those bank accounts, how the transition of employees take place, following the Secretary of State, and then finally taking over the business.